All right, so it is top of the hour. We might have a few more people join us as we go, but I am going to do my best to respect everyone's time and all that to be prompt. We're going to go ahead and get started, and as people join, that'll be fine. Not a big deal. The first thing I want to say to everybody who's here is thank you. Thank you for volunteering to be, once again, for many of you, and for some of you, maybe the first time, once again, being part of our instructor team at University of Scouting. We sincerely appreciate it. I know it takes a lot of time and effort for a lot of you guys and gals to put together great classes. And we sincerely appreciate what you do for the volunteers in Scouting. And we hope that collectively we will create something greater than the sum of our parts and all that kind of good thing. I'm going to move my notes over here so I'm not staring off into the distance. If I'm looking up, I'm either looking at my notes or the list of people so I know who's talking or something like that. Second point, please register for the event if you would. It is only $5 this year, and $5 gets you a couple of things. 3 of those dollars go to basically pay for the platform. It's not free, and if we hit at least 160 some odd individuals registered as participants, we'll break even. That's our goal. We're not trying to make money here. And then the remaining $2 and a little bit, or $1 and a little bit actually, after Square fees, is to create a patch, which is on its way, and to mail it to you, the stamp and the envelope. So this is bare bones. We're not going crazy with stuff this year. We're trying to make it as affordable as possible. And if everyone could just lend us a hand and register, I think that'll make it easier to bolt everybody into the instructor side of things as well, because every single class that we create, we have a speaker. And I think there's a correlation there between who's the speaker. And if you're not registered, I think there's a little disconnect. So that's my second plea. Please do register. If you need a link to register, although hopefully you don't, but I will go ahead and post it in the chat real quick. Anything for a patch, right, Adam? Awesome. Start here, and I will show you really quickly. I'm going to do my best to do what Katie referred to in her videos, which I hope you watched. I'll come back to that in a second, and I'm going to share my screen briefly. This is the registration page. A lot of folks have had some really good questions about how to select classes. I'll get to that in a second. Buy tickets is where you want to go and put forth your $5 measly for the pleasure of being a part of our organization, part of our event. The agenda here is kind of a tab thing, and that you can go through and look at all the classes that we have scheduled. And why is it not responding right now? There we go. Oh, still not responding. Yeah, there it is. I think it's probably something in the tool. Hour by hour, where things are. And you can pretty easily, I hope, find your class and know where it's at. I'll get a little bit later back to some of the forthcoming emails that I'll be sending out to confirm with everybody what you're teaching and what time that is and all that kind of stuff. So that's the registration page. I'll share with you a little bit later what the actual event page looks like. I'll get to that in a second. Let me go back. I'm hopping around just a little bit and implore everyone to watch Katie's sextuplet, 6 videos that she created for us. Katie really knows what she's doing. She created a great set of videos. What did I say, about 20 minutes total, I think it was, Katie, to get end to end. And I really appreciate what she's done for us. Thank you, Katie, for doing that. And I hope that everybody has time to keep it, watch those and sort of imbue them. And I know for me, I learned a few things and had a few things reinforced to me about how I instruct, and being careful with my slides and being careful with getting participant feedback and incorporating discussion elements as much as possible. I ask that you at least keep those things in mind as you're thinking about how do I teach these things in this format. I mean, this is what we got right here, right? And it's going to be challenging. So please do go watch Katie's videos. I hope everyone got links. Everyone got links, right? Yeah?
Yes.
All right, cool. Awesome. Okay, so as I go through this, I'll go through real quick sort of format of this meeting. as I go through these things. If you have questions, concerns, something that needs clarity, or something I said doesn't make sense, you can interrupt me. That's okay. Take yourself off mute and just say, hey, Mike, what is this? What do you mean by that? Or I'll try to keep my eye on the participants in the upper left up there that I've got to see if anybody raises their digital hand. I see Ron Shake raising his actual hand. What's up, Ron? Or Stanky. Ron Stanky, you're on mute.
On mute, buddy.
You're still on mute, Ron.
Sorry, Ron
ahead,
Stanky,
Ron.
not Ron Shake. Don't confuse me with him.
Some of the best Rons in this council.
I'm trying to register as you're speaking, and it's requiring an age and a photo. Is that a requirement in order to get a ticket?
I don't need... So we went through. It does not require a photo, and the team, the planning team, went back and forth on whether or not we should ask for an age. And I think we landed on at least asking for it because we want to suss out if we do have any youth members, because there is some social interaction aspect here. And so we want to make sure that we don't fall on the wrong side of youth protection. Let me really quickly go back to the registration form and see. Age should not be required, and photos should not be required, and your organization should not be required. Also, your cell phone should not be required. It's going to ask for it, but if you leave it blank, it's no big deal. Does that help, Ron?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
No worries. And like I said, if you have questions or concerns, please feel free to interrupt. Mr. Stanky is more of a hand waver, but you can just blurt right out if you want. Know that if you talk and you're on mute, I'm not going to hear you. So sorry about that. That's the way this thing goes. I'm going to try to spend about 45 minutes. I'm already 8 minutes in or so on content. I don't want to go too deep because this is the basics. So we're going to be a little bit basic. And for those of you that are really familiar with using Zoom or Google Meets or Microsoft Teams or any of those other platforms, you might be a little bored, but there are some other folks that might benefit from this, especially those folks that come back a little bit later and watch this and go, oh my gosh, I don't know, this meeting happened, I didn't get the link, whatever. So I'm gonna try to spend about 45 minutes on that, and then I'll reserve the last 15 or so for an open Q&A, and you guys might be able to guide where we go on our next two meetings with the intermediate on Friday and the advanced next week. So that's the thing. Notice what I did right there. I did exactly what Katie told me to do, and I put the expectations up front. Do that. Right, Katie? All right. Okay, so with that, let's talk about the basics. The interface that we're using to instruct this year is very much like Zoom. It's a web platform that sort of surrounds what you might think as of a whole bunch of Zoom-like opportunities for people to drop in. It is not Zoom, but it's very similar. I'll show you the interface in a little bit after we cover some of the basics. One of the things that you might have noticed, because we've all been on Zoom and Teams and Meets and all that stuff over the past, 7-8 months of crazy that we've had, is audio is really important. And I'm piggybacking off of one of Katie's videos where she talks about camera angle, lighting, some of those things. And those are very important too. I want to back up just a little bit since Ron Stanky has stepped out. So nobody tell Ron, okay? Audio is super, super important. If people can't hear you and can't hear you well, it's going to be a bad jam. I am talking to you right now on the wired version of this. This is a Shure SM58. This is the wireless version. The thing up here that you're hearing me through is a little bit different. It's just a wired version. It's a $100 microphone. I'll be honest, I have my eye on a slightly different microphone that's about $400. I may never buy it. There are many other microphones. I am not asking you to go out and buy a $100 microphone. I'm asking you to make sure you have a microphone and to make sure that it works and it works well. I don't care if you have a headset with a boom mic. That's fine too. I don't care if you use built-in speakers on your computer as long as it works well. What I want to do is encourage you, each and every one of you, if you haven't already been a frequenter of meetings like this, to get on a call, test it, make sure it works. I know that Jerry's microphone works because he's making Facebook videos every week or two for Jambo and whatever else. I know he knows audio and video. I know that Katie's works because she created videos for us. But some of you might, especially those of you that are muted and your videos turned off. I don't know what's going on. Although I know Dana, I've heard her in roundtable and district meetings. So my comfort level with 50 some odd instructors coming to this thing is tenuous at best. So my recommendation for everyone here and everyone listening at home after the fact, please find a microphone, make sure that it works, test it so that somebody can hear you. I'm going to do a really quick demonstration here. What you're hearing me through is that microphone I was telling you about, and I'm going to switch to the microphone built into my laptop. And I'm guessing that I sound just a little bit different right now, right? Probably not terrible, but a little different, right? Yeah? Can you still hear me okay? But the quality's not quite the same. My other microphone, which I switched back to, is a little bit warmer. It's a little bit further away, actually. But either one would work. I was on a call on Thursday with somebody that had one of these things, a boom mic, and it sounded like a cat was caught inside. It was terrible. I couldn't understand the person. Meow, what's happening in your microphone? Please, she's teaching too, so I have to make sure that she knows that to test it and get that fixed, whatever. If you have a desktop computer, not a laptop, or it's a little bit older, it might not have a built-in microphone. Just make sure it works, because if you look at things like YouTube videos, people that post things like that, or creators that do visual media like this, one of the most important things is really good audio. Then quickly becomes good video, so you can see me and I'm not a hazy blur of garbage. And we'll get to that in a second. But for me and for teaching, the audio quality is actually really important. Okay, everybody cool on that front? Good? Awesome, thank you. Okay, second thing I'm gonna talk about, and I'll get back to Katie's point on audio, on video and camera angle, because I wanna reinforce that real quick. Second point is internet quality, okay? And this is my biggest fear, because I live in rural Washington County and my internet comes through a straw. I literally have to trim my trees every once in a while to get, it's a point-to-point last mile thing. I have to go hack off limbs on my tree when it rains and a limb sags and goes in front of my antenna. I kid you not. If you have fiber, if you have cable, even if you have DSL, you're probably fine. If you're getting to me through smoke signals on the top of your house, we're going to have trouble. Find something that works. And I will show you there's a tool built into this thing that you can actually use, and it should tell you if you're okay on image quality and on connectivity and reliability and that kind of thing. If you don't have a solid internet connection, please take the time over the next, what do we have, 4 weeks or less, to find somebody to go hang out with in their garage or whatever who has good internet, so that you can teach and make sure that when you're in the middle of your class about cold weather camping or Weebelow's, adventures, that your connection doesn't slam on the floor and you have to go crawl your way back in. So that is my request. Second thing, quality, good, solid internet. Already talked about audio quality. What I am going to talk to you about is the other half, the headphones or speakers or whatever. I've been in a couple of calls, and we did a test, our planning team did a test last week with this tool, and somebody had speakers and a microphone, an external microphone like mine, and we were getting this really amazing, horrible echo. It's just awful. You'll notice that I use earbuds, which is one solution, so that my incoming, and I see Tom has earbuds, and I see Henry has over the ear things. I don't care what you use. If you want to wear a big set of cans on your head, we're all used to it by now, right? Just make sure that what's coming into your ears isn't also hopefully going into the microphone, or weird things can happen. Some of these programs have really good protocols to actually filter that out. I don't have a whole lot of confidence that this tool has those protocols built in. So please think about that. How are you getting your audio info into your ears and also keeping the audio that you're giving to the microphone as clean as possible? If you're trying to teach on a phone or an iPad, it's probably not going to go well. I'm guessing. So, you know, we didn't test that. This is not Zoom that we're actually using for the event. It's going to be a platform with these built-in things that I'll show you in a little bit. So think about that. What are you going to use to actually host your session? Is it a dinosaur? Is it going to crash halfway through? Please don't. Katie talked in one of her videos about camera angle, and you can see that my camera is a little bit low. If I actually look level, you're looking at the bottom of my chin. Best case scenario, your camera is actually right to about your eyeballs, right, Katie? About eye level. It's really, or even a little bit higher. Yeah, exactly. And that's not always doable, but get as close as you can, because what we don't want is shooting up your nostrils. I've seen far too many nostril shots over the past. Exactly. So Katie's demonstrating here. I would pin you, but okay. So think about how that's set up. You know, if you have to put a box on your desk so that your laptop's just a little bit higher, that's okay. It's fine. It's not a big deal. All right. I have a bunch of monitors, so that doesn't really work too well for me. I got to figure it out. Also, and Katie mentioned this a little bit, but I'm going to go into a little more detail. Consider your background. What I've got going back here is a little bit noisy. There's stuff, it makes me feel warm and fuzzy. It's all my wonderful experiences of my college and my scouting and all that stuff, and Jerry's grandkid. Good night. Consider either a simple plain background. I'll probably change mine before the event, or Katie's suggestion of a virtual background to answer Henry's question that he had, I think it was earlier today or yesterday. Yes, we do have the ability to use virtual backgrounds. It is not as simple as Zoom, unfortunately. It's not a click, add this and go. There's actually a plugin you need, and I'm going to recommend using Chrome. I will send out a set of instructions that are on their webpage, the platform's website, their support structure for how to do this. It's not hard. It's just you got to install the thing real quick, and I'm sure that it's not spam or anything. So I will send that out, and I'll make an action and do that actually real quick because I don't want to forget about that. You can use virtual backgrounds, and Chris Bartel has provided a whole series. I think it's 7 or 8 of them that I've stashed away, probably on Google actually, that we can tap into and use, that has the current Grit Starts Here thing that the council's doing. So we can all kind of be matchy if we want to, or you can have your own, like Jerry has one, and some other folks. You know, Henry's got a great one. Henry, you've got yours on. So Henry's got an awesome one there. Send out notes for virtual background. I will do that. So consider what your background looks like. And finally, to reiterate what Katie said about lighting. Oh, Katie's got one there. Cool, that's awesome. It's like the Matrix and scouting met. It's like chemistry. Lighting. The last thing I want to mention, and Katie mentioned it really quick by turning off her lamp and having a great example. Lighting is key. There it is. Katie's got a good one. I'm going to show you what I use for lighting really quick. Hold on for just a second. All right. This is a work light. It's about $8 to Home Depot. And I have a CFL bulb in here. LED would work fine, right? Simple with a clamp. I can't quite get it all the way in the shot, right? I think it's 8 inches or so. This is a shower curtain. Couple bucks. I bought it at, I don't know, Home Depot. I call it my poor man's softbox. If you know what a softbox is, you know it's a big thing that creates nice diffused light. It's not pretty. It's not expensive. A Scout is thrifty, but it kind of works. And what you can see is it creates some diffused light. And I put it up here. Pardon me again while I reset up my light. I put it, actually, it's a little bit bright. I actually put a handkerchief on it, so dim it just a little bit. I look a little washed out, sorry. And what you want is ideally, and I'm not telling you to go out and construct this or buy soft boxes or anything like that. If you look at the 3-point lighting things on the internet for videography and photography, 45 degrees that way from your center point and 45 degrees that way up a little bit. One is about half as much light energy lumens, if you will, as the other one. You've got a primary and a fill. And then you can do cool things with like a little bit of key light on the top or from behind. There's all kinds of demos on 3-point lighting if you want. Or you can go with Cady's solution, just find a lamp. I don't care. That works too, okay? Just don't be in the dark. That's all I'm asking. So lighting, camera angle, consider your background, audio quality, internet, all that stuff. Everybody good so far? Anybody have any like major concerns or weirdnesses they want to bring up about the basics? Henry's shaking his head. He's good to go. Aaron, you good?
Yeah, Mike, this is Tom. I got a question on the virtual backgrounds. Have you on the virtual backgrounds, have you tested a virtual background on this platform?
I have not. I have,
only because the reason I bring that up is on Zoom sometimes, like I noticed on a couple of Steve's, like we have his virtual background, it does that weird blocking behind you sometimes when you move.
The superimposing thing doesn't work perfectly, right? Yeah, and Cady's hands are coming and going a little bit on the bridge.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't know how good the quality is on that. I can't.
To me, sometimes that's distracting when I'm watching a Zoom and somebody's got it virtual.
No, Tom's got a great point, and I tend to agree with it. That for me, sometimes like I love Jerry on the beach; he's awesome. But I'm going to get distracted by that palm tree back there. Is there going to be a coconut falling off the palm tree? I don't know. It's up to you, okay? And the most important thing is that you're present, you're lit, and you're presenting good information. Tim, did you have a question over there?
I was going to say something I found is that if you use a green screen, and you can get them pretty cheaply off of Amazon, that's what I've got behind on mine. It's just I've got a different camera right now, so normally it fills the screen.
Yep.
And you can get it fairly cheaply. That will prevent a lot of the motion. You can see my hand.
Yeah.
It's not doing anything there.
Although I think I can see your chair. Your green screen's set up a little bit askew where we can see part of your room and part not, but I totally.
Yeah, that's because I'm using a different computer right now. My normal camera that I have for my laptop is fully engulfed.
It's
so
all
I got to
lined
rearrange
up,
this when I teach for University of Scouting so that it
awesome.
gets in there.
Thank you. And I have a black one that I had behind me for quite some time, and then I decided I wanted my wall of fun stuff. I might put my black background back up, especially for things like open and close and stuff like that. So good question, Tom. Thanks for the points, Tim. And Tim, how do you pronounce your last name?
Georgie.
Georgie. Okay. I want to make sure I get that right. Cool. Anybody else? Questions or concerns at this point on the basics, the mechanics? Notice what I'm doing. I'm waiting for 10 seconds like Cady told me to.
So
go ahead, Jerry.
So I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to do these two classes that I've taught, which in the classroom, there's a lot of moving around. One of them is the games with a purpose. Obviously, we're not playing any games, especially since all of the games that are in that require team building. We'll go through the kind of the principles, but what are your suggestions for and I might work something out with my better camera so that I could stand for my winter camping class where I'm actually demonstrating like some gear, holding it up. I guess I could do it sitting down, but I'm also going to be bouncing back and forth with shared screens. So I didn't know if you were going to get into the mechanics of any of that, but those are my only concerns.
So we'll see how far we get today. Great questions, Jerry. Thank you. There is definitely the ability to share a screen. It's a little more simplified than Zoom. If you've been doing a lot of Zoom screen sharing, you can share each window, you can share an application. This one is share screen, this one or that one or whatever you've got. If you've got 4 screens, you'll be able to choose 1, 2, 3, 4, and hopefully you'll be able to recognize it. You can also essentially stream a video. I'll get into this in more detail probably in either the next class or the advanced, I'm not sure which, where you can, and this will be one of my recommendations, Jerry, is you could film yourself for 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes doing something, especially for advanced games of the purpose. You know, get somebody, you know, your wife, or I don't know, somebody who doesn't mind touching you. I don't know who that would be, and demonstrate the game, right? Record it, and then you could stream out the video and show them. I know I'm a funny guy. And you can stream one and send it out, and then stream the next one and the next one, and then talk in between. That's very doable. There is a downside, and I'll tease this. When we did it last week, I think it was Pat Anderson streamed, and I tried it also. The person who's sending out the video can't see the video. So you might want to have I know, hey, great eye roll, Katie. That's my point as well. Why would you do that? But it literally squirts it out. And I'll be honest, the video quality and the audio quality on this platform when you share a video is better than Zoom. It doesn't hitch as much. It has better audio, but you as the presenter, you have no idea when it's done. So I would recommend putting a plant in the audience to go, hey, Jerry, your video's done. Stop sharing. And I have no idea if it just stops or if it loops or what. We could play with it more at some point, but it is very possible. So we'll get into that in more detail. But Jerry, I would recommend anybody else who has things where you're usually getting up and jumping around or demonstrating or showing things, you can capture a real quick video and stream that out. Aaron, you have a question?
Yeah. Is there going to be like a breakout room functionality with it as well for discussions?
Not that I'm aware of, no. You will have the ability to, it's essentially its own like Zoom, you know, room, and it's a Zoom clone, so it's kind of pared down. And I will show you a screenshot here in a little bit. Actually, why don't I go ahead and do that, because you have a really good, sort of a good question here. Let me share my screen. Shareception here. Where is the one that I want to share? I have too many things, not screen. This one. Okay. So when you get into, actually, I'll just show you live. This is what it looks like right now. And when you get into the actual thing itself, this is the lobby. We'll have it more filled out. Our team's working on things like the info desk to, you know, answer frequent questions, and hopefully we'll have some sponsors. Who knows? Maybe the Wood Badge Association will sponsor us, hint, hint, or whatever. But you'll see that basically, you know, my sessions that I signed up for or whatever, the same basic list of classes you saw when I took you to the agenda tab on the registration pages here. There's a main stage that, as the name implies, is going to be for things like, oh, wow, it's slow. Is it loading? Come on, there we go. Is for opening, closing. We have a midday keynote. There's a countdown, 24 days, folks. No time like the present, right? And the main stage is a little bit different. It's almost like we're going to use it like a simple video streaming out thing. There is a chat, but all the classes are what we call workshops. And actually, I wonder if I can, well, let me just demonstrate. One of the easiest things to do is to go down here when you are instructing, and all these left-hand navigation bars, one of the best ones is My Talks. And you'll see down here, I've assigned myself as one of the speakers, is what it is. And I have a couple things I'm planning to teach. And when it comes time to teach your class, you very simply hit the Start Your Talk. And since I don't want to go ahead and start my talk right now, I did a test yesterday, and I captured a few screenshots. So if I go into there, the first thing you're going to see is this select your devices. So you select which microphone you want to use, the camera that you're using, and hopefully it'll sync up and find a video quality that it likes, and what speakers, headphones, whatever, right? So when you get in there and everything looks good and everything starts working, oh, this was real quickly, the readiness checker is something that I alluded to earlier, where you can go through and have it test your speakers, your microphone, your camera, find the resolutions. It doesn't like my network. Like I told you, I'm in rural Washington County. Go through and do a series of checks. Couldn't hurt to do that. As long as you can hear and you can be heard and you've got some video, that's probably good. When you get in there, it looks kind of like this. And of course, I had nobody in my workshop that I was using. The name of yours will be up here at the top left of the window. Mine was named test session, as well as over here in the chat. And what you'll notice is on the left side here in the main window on the bottom is it's not a flower being held up or holding up a gummy bear or something like that. That's actually your microphone. So you can mute yourself and unmute yourself. And this is to turn on or off your video right next to it. And then in the middle is share. And I think my next one is, so when you click share, you can, we're not quite to settings yet. I'm getting there. So this is the share. You can either share a screen or you can share a video. And this is what I was telling Jerry about. Sharing a video, you just go find the video on your hard drive and it just streams it out. And I don't think I captured that because it just says up here at the top, oh, you're sending out a file or whatever. If you hit the gear, that's settings, as Pat was alluding to. And that's a couple things. If you find that your microphone isn't working or it's not selected right or the audio or whatever, you can go adjust those things here, as well as you'll see the list of attendees. And this is where it gets back to being a Zoom clone. This is where you can mute and unmute the attendees and turn on or off their video, I think. We didn't test that too exclusively last week, but that's kind of that whole like mechanically making a thing work. Okay, so that's back to what it looks like. It's very much Brady Bunch Zoom-like, and it works okay. And you should be able to see a fairly substantial number of people in your classes. I think the maximum is somewhere in the early to mid hundreds, 125, 150. Mm-hmm. Notice there are a couple of cool features up here on the top right. We had chat was the first one, and we did test it. Chat works really well. There is a way, hang on a sec, let me go back real quick, where you can, which one is it? Is it the last one? Sorry, folks. Where, in the chat, there is a setting thing here too, the little gear settings, where apparently you can set a notification sound or a pop-up notification, I think, when somebody else does something in the chat. We are working on the idea of having everyone have a buddy, like you are the main presenter, but we're working on the idea of wrangling up technical people to help you. And so if Jerry's doing cold weather camping, he doesn't also want to watch the chat. So we would have somebody help Jerry out. And if a question comes in via chat, they could say, hey, Jerry, there's a question in the chat and here it is. And he could answer it verbally, hopefully as smoothly as possible. As smoothly as Jerry possibly can. There is also a polling feature, which we did not test, but looks pretty, I think you actually did test it. You can add a poll question, and I think you start it. Again, it's kind of like Zoom if you use the polling feature in Zoom. You criddle a question, a couple yes, no, maybe, A, B, C, D, whatever, launch it and get a thing. I think we did that with our test last week, and it was okay. There's also Q&A. The interesting thing we found with the Q&A here is that everybody can ask a question who's in the workshop, and everybody can answer a question as well. So you might actually completely miss that somebody asked a question that another participant answered and thinks that's the right answer. And you might kind of keep an eye on those or have your buddy keep an eye on those Q&A forums as well to make sure that the answer that the participant gets is the answer that you expect. So we recognize that, I'll go back to, I think this one. Yeah, that's kind of the basis. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense to everybody. We haven't fleshed out, we have probably 15 classes run concurrently, roughly speaking, and we don't have everything lined up totally yet, but we're going to get there. We're going to see if we can leverage the professional staff quite a bit, and we hope that that works out.
I'm sorry, while you're on all that and you were in
ahead,
there
Ron.
for my talks and things like that,
Yeah.
How do we go about setting something up like that? How do we import our stuff? Did I miss that?
In terms of your talks, like where
Yeah.
you're speaking, that's my job.
I mean,
So-
do we have to set anything up? Like you said, even your readiness test and different things like
Oh,
that. How
right.
do you get to that point where you're doing those things?
So I think that's going to have to be done on the day of. I could try to make a dry run if you really want to test it out and make sure it works. But when the event starts and when you go and join the workshop, you'll be able to go and make sure. And really, it only takes about 10 or 15 seconds to make sure everything bolts in correctly, I think. Does that make sense, Ron?
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, so hopefully it shouldn't take too long. Anybody else have any questions? Jenny's got a
Yeah.
great background. I love it. Jenny's got a good one going there. Backgrounds are awesome, folks. Okay, who had a question? I heard a question come up.
I do.
I was just going to
Adam.
say, oh, go ahead.
Let's have Adam go first. Go ahead, Adam.
Oh, so I'm just trying to sign up, and I paid my $5.
Thank you.
And I'm looking, and I see my two classes that I'm teaching,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to click register, but they say register, but I don't see anything that I actually am registered.
And that is a little bit weird. I will definitely admit that. Let me share. Go back to sharing. Hopefully, I'm fitting into share my screen. Where is it? There it is. Hopefully,
And I'm on the oh,
Yep. Okay. So this is my thing, and if I go to the classes and I say that I want to take, oh, hang on a second. It's in the lobby. I want to make sure you are in the lobby, and let's say that I want to go.
see, I don't get the thing on the left.
Which thing on the left? The
The
navigation
lobby
bar.
main stage, I don't get any of that.
Oh, that's okay. Now hang
I'm
on a
on a-
second. Hang on a second, Adam. Are you over here on
Yeah.
this? Okay.
Yeah.
So you should be able to hit register here. This is the registration page to
Mhm.
buy your $5 thing. So $5 you're in, and essentially you should be able to, I hope, select classes. So whenever I do
select my
this,
classes, but
I'll go ahead
Yeah.
and select to register for opening morning and keynote. And I've noticed this when I come back, it doesn't say that I'm registered. So I'm
Yeah.
not sure if there's a amount of time before the event minimum where you go in and select your stuff. I honestly don't know.
I've
Let's see
selected all of
if I go to the main stage and I say, yeah, we'll see if I can sign up to take something because I'm not teaching. Let's say I'll take Tom's Den Discipline. So one of the things you can do when you get into here, so this is the main portal. When you go into the classes list, I can at least show an interest in taking Den Discipline by clicking the star. And that says, I'm interested in taking this class.
Yeah.
Why it won't let me register for it is interesting. Oh, I'm not sure.
See,
I might be in as an admin. Sorry?
I don't even get the stuff on the left-hand side.
All this here.
I don't
He's
get
not getting a drop
I don't
down.
get any of that.
Here, Adam. Try this link here in the chat if that works. So I think, I'll go ahead and go back.
Are you on a phone or a mobile device, Adam?
No, I'm an iMac.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's your problem. It's an Apple product. No. this
No.
should work with Windows, Apple's, the whole bit. It shouldn't matter. Hopefully, even like Linux users or whatever. So that, Adam, is an invitation to the main portal. Are you able to get in there?
Hang on. I just was doing all of my registration for all of the recharter, so I've done it all.
Oh, totally messed up all your. Well, there goes recharter. Oh boy.
No, that's just a link to the Zoom.
Priorities.
Yeah.
I just get a link to the Zoom. It goes right to.
The link that I just pasted in the chat, Adam?
Yeah.
Mike, is there something that has to be turned on for the instructors to be able to get in there and get at that, or for people to be
It's
able to
possible.
get in there?
It's possible because I am administrator of this thing that I might be able to get in right
Yeah,
now.
you can see
So-
stuff and the rest of us can't yet.
Anybody else? try that link?
I just registered today. And when I click on that link, it did work. It took a minute and it said, this event hasn't started yet, and thought about it. But then it did let me in, and it does show all of the things that I clicked attending for.
Okay, cool.
But
okay,
it did take a minute.
So Katie got it to work, which is awesome. The key point here, Adam, is I think you're on what they call this is the, hang on, where is it? The admin stuff. This is the site where we're setting everything up. You're on the events site, which is where we go to register. And the main thing is going to be on what they call the event hub, or the lobby, which is, again, this. And you should see all those things. But if you're on that link where you go to register, you're not going to see those on the left. It's all the about with a little snippet of what's going on, the agenda, the sponsors, and all that kind of stuff. So it's actually a different location when the event starts, and hopefully that link is provided to you in the email that you get from the platform. Is that where you got the link, Katie, from the?
So when I follow the link that you put in the chat, it takes me back to that kind of registration event sign up page, where you can choose what you're attending and what you're not. I still don't see all of the hub, the main stage stuff.
Okay.
I think we won't get that until day of, but it
might be the case. Yeah.
My choices.
Yeah. So I just went into incognito mode and pasted that link, and it tells me to enter my email address. So it might be sort of locked down until the day of.
So Mike, this is Tom. So I need to. So when you register for the event, then you also need to register for the classes that you're teaching.
So so we haven't figured out if you need to or if we want you to register for the classes. What we're going to do is bolt sort of a faux version of you as a speaker into each of your classes. Okay. And let me go ahead and share what I have to show you what that looks like.
Oops.
I hope I'm answering these questions reasonably well. So I've added myself, Pat Anderson, and oddly Dolly Olson, and a version of myself to test this. And I will add each of you as a speaker. Image is not required, and but I will put in your email address. And then when we go over to over to the sessions. So Tom, as an example, I can go ahead and look for Den Discipline and say, okay, I'm going to edit that, and you're going to be the speaker here. Gotcha. I don't have it in yet, but I will. And what that'll do, and I will go ahead and do that a little bit, I think about this time next week, is that will automatically send each and every one of you an invitation or a reminder to your class that you're teaching. It basically becomes a Google Calendar entry. So I don't think you need to be registered for your class, but you can. It's okay. Does that answer your question, Tom?
Yeah. Okay. Because there's no limit. Because in the past we wouldn't do it because we had limits to the sizes of our classes.
And we heard some great feedback last year from instructors of, hey, please put the class I'm teaching on my schedule. And so we're going to do that this year. And then this tool is totally different. But one thing
we can also sign up for other classes, obviously.
Absolutely. Please do. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. The limitations on number of humans per class for each of these is roughly 150, I think it is. Okay. So we're not going to run out of space. No. We got plenty of space. You guys probably have more people possibly than you've ever had before in your class, which is great. Everyone come and learn, right? It's going to be awesome. So yeah, and what you probably saw there also was a little midway. I'll take you on 15 minutes before I want to end. I'll take you on a really brief tour. We have, main stage classes. I'm not sure exactly what networking is. This is one of the reasons why we started the asking for an age, just so we can be aware if there's a youth in the midst. You'll notice midway, Cheryl Shake and Andrea are working really hard on getting all of our vendors and council folks, council groups to come in and have a little thing. My booth, I have no idea. It has something to do with the midway. I don't have any booths. But again, my talks for me, I think is going to be really key for when you get to there. Oh yeah, I've got a talk. You don't have to go find it. You can just go to the My Talks thing And the lobby, there's a chat, there's some stuff, you can see things. It'll probably be more eventful as you get there. So that's the really quick tour. I might try to go into more detail and maybe even do something live as we go through this whole series of meetings. Any other quick questions? I got a couple more points I want to hit here. Everybody feeling okay so far? Yeah, got some good questions. Okay, so I'll come back to open Q&A in just a minute. I want to remind everyone, and I'll give you a little quick status update. We are currently at, I think with Adam and a couple others registering on the fly, we are at 80 individuals registered, which is pretty cool. I did mention we have to hit 160 something to break even. I think we'll get there. It's not a big deal. Interestingly, I'd like for you to all please keep in mind that we have participants registered from not only our council, a lot of folks from our council, but not only our council. We have Pacific Harbors Council, a participant, Northern California, Southern California, North Dakota, New Jersey, and Macon, Georgia. So when you have, I know, right? Pam's got the right answer. Yes, that's so cool. We're going global almost. And the reason I wanted to mention this is in years past, when I taught putting the outing and scouting for the Cub Scout program, I kind of created this, and it was right after we had the big changes in the Cub Scout adventures. I created this really cool thing for taking your Cub Scouts out and going hiking. And I tied that into all the different hiking requirements throughout all the different ranks, from tiger to wolf to bear. Sorry, tiger, wolf, and webelow all have, oh no, bear has one too. And then webelow's walkabout is like the penultimate. Arrow of Light doesn't have one, but there are ways you can kind of bolt together a pack hike and make sure you hit all these things. So I created this really neat, I thought it was really cool, a syllabus of here's how to do this. And I chose Tryon Creek State Park because I love Tryon. It's a wonderful place. And it's got all these loops, and it's got a nature center and all this stuff. And I brought it to University of Scouting, and I taught it. And somebody from Lebanon said, well, I'm not taking my webelows to Tryon because that's a long way away. And so I kind of had to change my tune a little bit and say, okay, here's an example. You can find lots of amazing places to go hiking, whether you're in Albany or Tillamook or Hood River or Vancouver. There are lots of amazing places. Here's an example. And I want you to think about that when you're, if you have that kind of thing that's a little bit specific to our council, our geography, something like that, premise it as an example and say that, you know, these kind of things can be wherever you are, because we are going to have folks in theory from all over the place, and probably even more coming in. Macon, Georgia, go figure, right? Great, cool, awesome. So just be mindful of that geographic diversity. We are still celebrating our council. All of our morning and noon keynote and evening speakers are all from our council. So, you know, I'm not trying, I've had some notions of going out and getting big names, but you know what? Our council's amazing. Let's focus on our council. So just keep that in mind. 10 more minutes. We got a couple more things. Oh, actually, one more point. I mentioned it very briefly. I'll go back again. Every single instructor is going to receive an email about this time next week, maybe Wednesday, with a link to the videos for each of these 3 courses, the instructor informational discussions we're gonna have, so that anybody who missed it, or if Jerry wants to go back and watch it again, you can do that. It's no problem. It will also have confirmation of the classes you're teaching and the times we're going to teach those classes. And I will, again, at that time, bolt you into the tool as a speaker, connect you with your class. And then I will also share a Google Drive location with each of you, one for each of the classes you're teaching. So you'll get a confirmation email from Google Drive to say, hey, look, somebody shared this with you. And then you'll get emails from the tool that says, hey, you're a speaker for this class. And then you'll get an email from me that says, hi, Jerry, you're teaching all these classes and here's all the resources. So for like Tim, Georgie, it's going to be probably about 13 emails. I'm sorry. Thank you for teaching so many classes, Tim. And Kara and Katie's teaching a bunch and all that. I really appreciate it, but you're going to get an onslaught of emails next week. I answered this question from, I forget who asked it. It was David Hammond. But I'll go ahead and put it out here with you, with everybody here. We are not making a CD this year because we're not going to be physically able to hand out a CD. We're relying on Google Drive. So the deadline for having any materials that you want for your participants is essentially the morning of the event. I'm not going to audit you. I'm not going to go and wring Adam's neck because he doesn't have something for my.scouting yet. It's up to you. Whatever you want to share with your participants, please put it out there. If you have trouble getting there and uploading stuff, talk to me. Email me, call me. I don't care. Whatever works for you. I will get it there for you if you can send it to me.
Mike, in the past, we've been able to upload any handouts and stuff that we have to Google Docs. Is
Yep.
that still going to be available? And we can.
That's precisely what we're
and
doing.
in-
The same thing as like last year, Pat,
Okay.
we did it last year that way.
We just okay.
Going to do the exact same thing. We have a couple people that teach and don't believe in Google and don't have a Google account, and I forget who it was. It's fine. I get it. You know, I use Google all the time. I've sold my soul to the Google. It's whatever. If that's not you, it's cool. I can help. Okay, it's all good. We just want to make that information available. You don't have to make your email available to your participants if you don't want to. You can be a little bit more, private. It's okay. Go ahead, Pat. Another question.
I got one. Yeah, I got one more crazy question. I have scout friends back east in Pennsylvania where I grew up, in the Fayette Westmoreland Council, which is, Western Pennsylvania. But anyway, can I let them know that they're welcome to join in on this if they want to?
Absolutely.
Because they're long-term scouters. They're very active in OA, and they've got an interesting history about how they came to be Fayette Westmoreland Council. Because if you look at the map for Western Pennsylvania, you see Pittsburgh on the west end, and the other part of Pittsburgh east of Westmoreland Fayette Council. They had a little disagreement over a bunch of camp properties, and they said, "See ya." National
it was
said,
a breakaway.
"You're welcome." Yeah, it was a breakaway. Instead of combining, they broke away.
So to
That's
answer
how
your question,
independent them people they are.
To answer your question, Pat, yes, we welcome anybody who wants to be a part of this program. Please feel free to forward the invitation. I see Aaron has a question. Go ahead, Aaron.
So I teach online, so I do a lot of stuff with
and you're
outside
tired of
platforms.
Zoom?
No, because I don't use Zoom. I use Adobe Connect, which is its own special beast. But yeah, we all got kicked off the server today. That was fun. In the middle of a meeting. But can I use some of the interactive pieces that I use in my classroom also with this as kind of, hey, here's this link, go do this activity kind of thing?
I think so. If you have special things that are unique to Adobe Connect, I don't think we're going to have functionality.
No, they're outside of that. It's more just
like paste a link in the chat, go to the chat. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way. I think Katie would agree. That's a great way to kind of engage everyone in, if you want to play a quick Kahoot or something, go for it. Whatever. As long as it's scout friendly and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
okay,
awesome.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, you betcha. Anybody else? Got 5.5 minutes. I'm going to get you guys on your way.
Just to throw out a request.
Go ahead, Steve.
We talked about, it being really easy to use day of the event, which I totally believe. But since I'm such a big troublemaker and have a bunch of video clips and I'm doing it off Linux, if we can have a dry run someday before it would be actually really cool.
I am writing that down that you would appreciate a dry run. What I might do, Steve, especially if does anybody else have that concern in particular with having an operating system or a computer that you're concerned about because it's off to weirdness land, and Steve's a special rainbow of a person running on Linux. That's
weird.
Great.
Yeah, I'm in the process of getting a camera to mount to my mainframe and my desktop because my laptop isn't going to cut it. I mean, it would, but it's not. But anyway, and I would appreciate the same thing as a dry run so I can make sure that everything is synced since this is going to be a new thing for me.
So what I might do
having
is pull Steve and Pat in. So we could do something as simple as a dry run. I could pull in Pat Anderson to do another one of those for us. We have a maximum of 15 people for a dry run. That's just something that the tool guys said. We can't have 100 people on a dry run. Or I could make you an admin and we could kind of goof around whenever we want. So Steve or Pat or whoever, and just make sure that your camera works. You can stream video, stuff like that. I've made an action item for myself to go and look into the best way to do that. And Steve and Pat, especially, I will come back and let you know and give you some options if that's good. Anybody else have concerns about that? Katie, you have a question?
I just have a question, I guess, for it. I'm less concerned about the technology side, but more, you know, when you're using a new tool for the first time and you want to present yourself as marginally competent, it helps to test it out a little bit. So even if, like, I don't know if the event will be live day of, that I could log in at like 7 a.m. and just make sure I know how to set up a poll before I try and set up a poll live.
Okay, yeah.
So even if it was like before it starts or whatever, that would be really helpful.
So what I did for myself when I was creating those screenshots I just shared with you, kind of walking through the thing really quick, was I created, and probably because I'm an admin, I can do this. I created a workshop that was just a test workshop, and I set it up for a time that doesn't matter. And then I just went and started the workshop, and I could kind of follow along with that. And that's why I'm wondering with, you know, Katie and Steve and Pat, anybody else who's kind of concerned, maybe the easiest way, if it's a small number of you, is to make you admin for a period of time and then just go and do the thing and make sure everyone's comfortable and everyone can share and do stuff. And then everyone's fears are abated. I will say it took me about 30 seconds to kind of go, okay, this is here, that's there, that's there. It kind of clicks together pretty quickly, unless you're really not tech savvy. And I don't know, we'll forgive Adam for his challenges. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
But it can be stressful doing that while your participants are literally showing up in your queue.
And I guess the other thing you could look at doing is showing up early. I think you can start.
That was my question. When do we have access to our classroom?
Well, it's very virtual, so it's kind of like I was showing you with. Hang on a sec. Classes. So
and
you
my
will have
beavers are always early.
You have access, I think, unless I'm admin again. Well, again, it doesn't have start your workshop. Honestly, Jerry, I don't know the answer to that. I wish I did. I think you can start the workshop at least a few minutes before the scheduled time to kind of get everything set up and make sure everything's cool. But, you know, if you guys want some time with the tool, I can try to make sure to get that and make it happen. It's just dry run, you know, 15 people maximum. So anybody else interested in a little time on the tool? Aaron? Oh, I see more than a few hands. Aaron,
I don't
Pam,
necessarily
Henry.
want time on the tool. I just, if we could get in 5 minutes before the participants do, just to get things whatever loaded and know that your face is actually on the screen, that'd be great.
You're being very generous. I'd say 30 minutes before, you know, just to have some wiggle room.
What if we set up like, and I know it's early, what if we set up like a 7 a.m. Staff workshop early in the morning? Is that too early for everybody? Just so everyone can get in. Henry doesn't, no, I don't want to do that. Yes, it's too early. Bring me coffee.
You're not driving anywhere.
I know, right? You have to drive all the way across town.
No, you only have to dress from the waist up. So, you know, come on.
Too
I like
much
that.
information.
No, 7 a.m. 7 a.m.'s great. I just like to be not fumbling around with the tool and go, oh, I saw that before. Where is that? Right in front of my class.
Yeah, let me look at putting together a 7 a.m. like a instructor's test run, and it'll give everybody a chance to get their feet wet. If somebody really wants like half an hour on the tool, I can go ahead and make sure to try that happen. Get that. No, my time is up, folks. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I like the idea of an early morning test run, and then you can go have your breakfast and come back for opening. If everybody else is cool with that, I'll definitely make that happen and invite everyone. I think I can make everyone a speaker to that, actually. Yeah, let me roll that around. And I'll also look at what it would take for Steve. I know that you have some distinct concerns with operating systems. Pat, would that alleviate your concerns if we have a 7 a.m. or 7:30, test run morning of?
Yeah, probably would.
Okay.
I can,
Cady?
I've only got to stumble from one room to the next to do that.
Aaron, Henry, Pat, and Jenny, does that, yeah? Pam? Yeah, okay. Let's plan on that as a default. And then if something else comes along, thanks, Adam. Adam knows how to use the thumbs up mechanism. Awesome. So we'll use that as a default. And I like that idea. That's a good one. So, okay, awesome. Thank you. I'm going to wrap it up. Is there any other questions you guys have in terms of the basics at this point?
Will a tape of this be available?
Yes. And I will send out a,
email?
like I said, an email with a link to this and the intro. Should I do it quick or should I wait? I don't know. It will definitely be available. I will definitely send out links to these things. So yes.
Yeah.